Okay, so a lot of my clients made fun of me because I read from a script last time and did not look into the camera and did not address you with any amount of zest. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more personal this time and keep it a little bit more real. I'm talking to you today about labels and the roles we play and the costumes we wear in our lives that may be hindering us and may be bettering us, and how they might play a role in our fitness. The world is very vast and expansive, and we have a lot of opportunities to be just about anything we want in this world, and we all tend to get stuck in certain positions for a certain amount of time. It can be a short period of time, it can be a long period of time, but we tend to fall into these roles and labels, and with so much in this world, how can we hang on to who we are and define ourselves? And often we measure ourselves against our most recent past. Perhaps you're a mother or you're a father, or you're a hardworking anything, computer programmer, you're a hardworking, technical sales assistant, maybe you're a janitor, maybe, whatever you are. We measure ourselves and we label ourselves as these roles, and also our successes and our failures we tend to let define us. And this can have a real grip over us, but we are not, what is important to remember is that we are not these roles, and we are not these costumes and these labels that we apply to ourselves, but instead we are the underlying spirit underneath that consistent element is you. That's your spirit. And the things on top of that, the costumes we wear, the labels that we apply to ourselves, are just our way of grasping to something in order to define ourselves a little better. And this can help, but can also cause a lot of suffering. Roles do help us to, when we stay in a certain position for long enough, to get a real perspective on one part of life that might tell us a lot about ourselves. However, we can get stuck in these roles, and it's very easy to get comfortable in our patterns and to stick to one pattern of life and pattern of thought, and before we know it, one thing leads to another, and it snowballs, and our life was created for us, and we never actually chose anything. I find it's important to evaluate ourselves, what we're actually looking for, what we're trying to create, and what's been created for us, and look at our roles and see if they're actually hindering us or helping us. In the fitness field, I see very directly these applications. A lot of people have been overweight either at some point in their life or maybe even their whole life, and now that they're ready to make a change and they come and they approach us, or they approach me, they approach BodyXpress looking to make these changes in their body, and there's so many degrees of change to be made. There's the diet, there's the exercise, and then there's the strength training, cardio, whatever. But the hugest one, and the most difficult one for people to really change often, is actually the mind. And what happens is a lot of these people who have been overweight their whole life have these habits and also this definition of themselves and this label that they apply to themselves, and it can be very disruptive. And they've never seen themselves as an athlete, they've never seen themselves as lean, they've never seen themselves as healthy. And frankly, some of them don't think they deserve any of this. So it's very important for them to evaluate their roles, or for you, if you're in this situation, to evaluate what label you apply to yourself. And if it's not working for you anymore, maybe it's time for a new role. On the other hand, there's athletes too who need to deal with acceptance. I have former athletes or people who used to be in very, very good shape who now aren't quite there. For instance, a lot of postnatal mothers, after they have their kid, they'd say they've been renting out their body for a while, and now the body's been their kids for so long, and now they're done having kids and they want to start losing their own weight and they want to claim their body again. And in the meantime, they used to be athletic, so they have that definition, so that is helpful for them because they know what that perspective looks like and they know how to get back there. But on the other hand, it can also be very disruptive because they can't be, sometimes they're very non-accepting of where they are now, and they're not willing to meet themselves where they are and gradually go back into it. And sometimes they'll go full force and just kind of burn the wick too fast, burn the candle at both ends, and they'll teeter out before they reach their goals. So take a moment to just think about what you are in your life and who you are to the various people in your life and also to yourself. And how would you define yourself? If you were to write down on a piece of paper who you are to an alien who's never met you before, how would you describe yourself? And try to do that without labels, and it can be very difficult. And if you'd rather apply labels, try a second draft and write the labels that you would like to apply yourself in order to get your perspective, your next perspective, to make your next quantum leap into what you would like to change in your life. So I'm Scott with BodyXpress, and I challenge you today to look at your labels and the costumes that you wear and see if they're serving you or hindering you.